Every humanoid robot that rolls off a production line needs dozens of tiny electric motors, and almost every one of those motors needs the same rare earth magnets that China controls the overwhelming majority of, and that's the supply squeeze that puts MP Materials right at the center of the story. Quick disclaimer before we dig in, this is just my personal take, not financial advice, so please do your own research. MP just reported a genuinely strong first quarter. It produced a record 917 metric tons of NdPr, the neodymium praseodymium that goes into high-performance magnets, up 63% from a year ago, and sold a record 1,006 tons, up 117%, on top of record overall rare earth oxide production of nearly 13,000 tons. Revenue rose 49% to $90.6 million, and more importantly, the company swung to positive adjusted EBITDA of $36.6 million from a small loss a year ago, and even posted positive adjusted net income of $6.7 million. There is still a small GAAP net loss at the very bottom line, but make no mistake, this was a step change quarter, and in my view, the setup behind it is one of the more compelling in the entire material space. Let me explain why the magnet angle matters so much, because this is the heart of the bull case. NdFeB magnets, neodymium iron boron, are the strongest permanent magnets made, which is exactly why they end up in the compact, high-torque motors inside electric vehicles, drones, wind turbines, and now humanoid robots. By Morgan Stanley's math, a single humanoid robot needs roughly 0.9 kilograms of NdPr magnets, and with EVs, robots, and wind power all chasing the same material, analysts are forecasting structural shortfalls for years, while NdPr oxide prices outside China have roughly doubled over the past year. The catch for the West is that China controls something on the order of 90% of refined rare earth and magnet supply. On the earnings call, CEO James Litinsky framed the stakes bluntly, saying recent conflicts have underscored how future wars will increasingly run on the very rare earth magnets that power drones and robots. Now here's an important correction to a misconception I see a lot. MP is not the only company on Earth that can make these magnets. China makes the vast majority, and other Western producers exist too. What MP actually is, in its own words, is America's only fully integrated rare earth producer, running the only active U.S. rare earth mine at Mountain Pass, and, as of December 2025, actually manufacturing finished NdFeB magnets on American soil. So, the real thesis is not a global monopoly. It is that MP has effectively been anointed the domestic champion for a supply chain the U.S. currently leans on China for. The single most important thing separating MP from a typical commodity miner is its government price floor, and it deserves a careful walkthrough. Back in July 2025, the Department of Defense, which the company's latest filing now refers to as the Department of War, struck a sweeping deal. It put $400 million into preferred equity plus warrants for roughly a 15% stake, extended a $150 million loan, and crucially guaranteed a price floor of $110 per kilogram on NdPr for 10 years. The way that works is essentially a contract for difference. Whenever the benchmark market price sits below $110, the government pays MP the shortfall on every kilogram it produces. That mechanism is exactly where this quarter's $42.3 million of price protection agreement income came from. The benchmark has been running below the floor, so Washington effectively topped up MP's rare earth economics. There's a shared upside clause too. Once the big new facility reaches capacity, the government takes 30% of any price above $110. The package also layers in a 10-year commitment by the government to buy the magnet output of that new facility. So MP walks away with not just a guaranteed price floor, but a guaranteed customer. In my opinion, this is a genuinely powerful de-risking feature you rarely see anywhere, a guaranteed revenue floor and a committed buyer, but it cuts both ways for how you read the numbers, because a meaningful slice of the headline strength this quarter was government income rather than pure commercial demand. On top of the defense relationship, MP also landed Apple. In a $500 million agreement, Apple committed to buy US-made magnets built entirely from recycled rare earths at the Fort Worth facility, with a dedicated recycling line at Mountain Pass, and shipments are expected to begin in 2027 to support hundreds of millions of devices. That is a marquee commercial anchor sitting right alongside the government one. And the capacity to serve all of this is being built right now. MP broke ground this quarter on what it calls its 10X facility, designed to take magnet capacity from around 1,000 tons a year toward 10,000 tons, backed in part by a roughly billion-dollar financing commitment from JPMorgan and Goldman Sachs. You can already see the downstream business starting to move. The magnetic segment, which makes the magnet precursors and finish magnets, grew revenue 306% year over year to $21.1 million and turned a positive segment-level EBITDA of $9.6 million. The whole strategy is to climb the value chain from digging up ore to selling finished higher-margin magnets, and this quarter was the first real glimpse of that downstream layer actually contributing. Now, the part that keeps me honest, because even a strong story has real holes. For all the record headlines, MP still printed a GAAP net loss and roughly break-even operating cash flow while capital spending is climbing fast. About $77 million went into property and equipment this quarter alone, so that $42.3 million of government price floor income is genuinely flattering the optics. The hardest execution risk is heavy rare earth separation. Mountain Pass is naturally rich in light rare earths, but poor in the heavy ones like dysprosium and terbium that the strongest magnets require. So MP will have to feed that process with third-party material and recycling. And China spent decades mastering exactly this chemistry. There is dilution to weigh since the government holds convertible preferred stock and warrants on top of the existing share base. And, maybe the subtlest risk of all, the entire thesis leans on continued government support and on rare earth prices outside China staying elevated. If US-China relations thaw and Chinese supply flows more freely, both the urgency and the pricing premium could soften. By conventional measures, the stock also trades at a rich valuation that already bakes in years of near-flawless execution, and it is worth remembering that even at record output, Mountain Pass covered only about a third of US rare earth demand last year. One more nuance for the numbers: MP stopped selling raw concentrate to third parties in mid-2025 to keep more material flowing into its own processing, which reshapes the year-over-year comparisons and is part of why the revenue mix looks so different now. So where do I land? I am clearly bullish on this one, and I think the reasons are unusually well supported for a company still in ramp mode. You have a powerful long-term demand story in electrification, drones, and humanoid robots, a national security tailwind that has the US government financially committed to MP's success, a guaranteed price floor that removes the single biggest risk most miners live with, marquee customers in the Pentagon and Apple, and a business that is already adjusted EBITDA positive while it builds out a tenfold capacity expansion. That combination is genuinely rare, but I want to be just as clear that this is not a sure thing. The GAAP losses are real, the heavy rare earth and 10 times execution is hard, holders face dilution, and a lot of the story depends on policy and pricing staying favorable, and I could be wrong about all of this. A thaw with China, a stumble on the separation ramp, or a cooling of the robotics hype could each change the picture. None of what I have said is a recommendation to do anything with the stock. It is my personal opinion and reading of the filings and the news, not financial advice, so please weigh it against your own situation and other sources before acting. If this was useful, tell me in the comments which stock you want me to break down next, and I will prioritize the names that get requested the most.